Hi and welcome to my second video blog in my Emotional Management for Mothers series. Over the 5 videos, I'll be discussing each of the 5 major negative emotions that affect mums the most: anger, sadness, fear, guilt, and hurt. Last week I spoke to you about anger, and today we're going to move on to sadness. Now, when a mum has control over her emotions, she is a more effective parent. If we're in a highly emotional state, we can't and don't think as clearly as we usually could. And therefore, we can have a harder time implementing the parenting strategies that are required at the time. And when we can't implement the strategies effectively and as easily, our children don't respond as well. The behaviour that we need corrected isn't corrected. So gaining control over our emotions is twofold. Not only does it affect ourselves and our quality of our life and enjoyment, but it affects our parenting, therefore our children and our family as a whole. So let's move on to our topic of sadness for today. Now, sadness, just like anger, is an umbrella emotion, and it covers the sub-emotions such as loss, misery, sorrow, feeling lonely, feeling blue, feeling upset, and just feeling down and just bleh, really. It occurs for many different reasons, but the most common reason it occurs for mothers that affects their parenting is, of course, perinatal depression, or oftenly abbreviated as PND. Now, perinatal depression is defined as depression that occurs for the first time either during pregnancy or within that first year after birth. It has devastating effects on mothers, on fathers, on attachment between children, and of course the family as a whole. Now, within my practice, I've found that there are 2 groups of mothers who experience perinatal depression: acute or chronic. Now, acute is, of course, a new condition or an exacerbated condition, and it is at this stage that it is essential that mums are supported by appropriate mental health professionals, such as their GP, specialist psychologist, specialist psychiatrist, and, if required, even inpatient hospital settings. Current guidelines recommend that all pregnant women are screened for PND, and there's also the routine screening at the 6-week well baby health checkup, either with your GP or at your early childhood health centre. Now, the screening for PND is either usually done via an interview combined with what's called the Edinburgh Depression Scale. Now, information on the Edinburgh Depression Scale can be found at the Black Dog's website, and I've put all the links below in the transcript to this blog. So you can go and you can have a look at it, you can have a read about it, test yourself, and it will direct you with your score whether it should recommend you go and pop off and seek professional mental health help. So I have found that then for a group of mothers, PND extends past this acute crisis stage as such and goes on for mums for many, many years. It's basically parental depression, parenting depression, and it becomes really chronic. It can occur in mothers who've had a history of PND or depression in the past, other mental health problems such as anxiety or bipolar as well, or it can occur because of the stresses associated with raising children, adjusting to being parents. And then, of course, it can be a combination of both of them. So, the question there is, how do we manage this chronic state of feeling blue and feeling down, this chronic sadness within mothers? So there are 3 steps that I take all of my clients who are recovering from PND through to help them manage their feelings on a day-to-day basis and move out of that chronic depression. So first of all, we talk about awareness, then we talk about connection, and then we talk about gratitude. First, Awareness. It is absolutely the key. When you're having one of those days or those weeks where you just can't shake that blue feeling, that dissatisfaction, the cloud hanging over your head, what's going on for you at that moment? You need to be able to know that to be able to get out of it. So here is where journaling is an amazing tool that can help you gain that awareness. Not only can you get whatever's going on in your head out on paper without having to feel that you're going to be judged by someone if you had to go and speak to a friend or a professional or anything like this, but it's also a process where you can actually start to look objectively at it. So you can think about what's going on for me right now, and start to see possible solutions. Now, I recommend that mums journal every single night, but not directly before bed because it can impact the quality of your sleep. So sit down, you write down everything that's happened through the day, how you felt about it, how you acted, how you wanted to act, and perhaps you can start to strategize a plan about what you would do the next time a similar situation occurred or you had those feelings come up again. Journaling's great because it allows us to start to see a pattern in our mood. It can allow you to start to see those triggers, what causes you to have a bad day, as well as what causes you to have a good day. And when you know what these triggers are, these influential factors, you can decrease the ones that are going to cause you to have bad days, and then you can incorporate more of the ones that are going to have a positive effect on your mood into your life more often. So the second step we go through is talking about fostering connection. Now, one of the common feelings that comes under that umbrella or emotion of sadness is loneliness. And this can really be significant for mothers who are stay-at-home mums or just staying at home in that first year when baby is still really young. It can be hard to make new friends as an adult. We all know our kids make friends easy, but it's really hard negotiating that as an adult. Sometimes we've still got the same friends we've got from high school. They've had children and we've now had children. We're all still ingoing. Sometimes we've got friends from mothers groups or in play groups. However, sometimes we only get to see those mums as friends at that event. So that may be 1 or maybe 2 hours a week. So sometimes you don't get that long-term friendship that you can have outside of that setting. So when mums find themselves spending their days by themselves or only with their children, feelings of blue and overwhelm get worse, and it really becomes a slippery slope. This slippery slope then has that devastating impact of feeling socially isolated, and it's really well documented. It's very common for mums. And being around your children all day is not the same as having adult conversation. Talking to my 5-year-old is not like talking to an adult. So it's really important for you to prioritize your social arrangements. Now, this could be simply meeting up with friends that do have kids, either going to multiple playgroups or mothers groups, going over to friends' houses, or organizing parties and big get-togethers. I recommend that mums have a good adult conversation with someone outside of the family every day. So that excludes your partners or your husbands. It doesn't have to be in person, but you can pick up the phone and call someone. We don't always just have to be texting or commenting on Facebook. If you can't meet up, actually hearing someone else's voice is crucial. Skype and FaceTime are other things that are available, and they're great ways to connect with people who are long distance from you. If you isolate yourself and you don't foster the relationships that are important to you, then feelings of isolation and loneliness can really start to eat away at you. So it's really important that the friendships and the connections of the people that you have around you also are very supportive of you. And they're not just there because You know, someone told you that you needed to have more friends and need to go out and see more people. You could have 20 friends but not have anyone that you can confide in about how hard you're suffering at the moment, versus having 1 or 2 friends, but those people who you can absolutely be crucially and brutally honest with and know that they will support and love you regardless. As with most things in life, friendships, it's all about quality and not quantity. So the final step that I take mums through in their recovery from PND and helping them get out of that blue mood and feeling sad and not enjoying life is practicing gratitude. Now, if you've connected with me on Facebook before or been following me, then you know that I speak about practicing gratitude all the time. It really is a very simple and very effective technique. Research has shown that individuals who practice gratitude regularly, they report a better quality of life than those who don't. You know, when we feel like crap and we feel like everything is wrong and that everything in our life has become negative, we become really dissatisfied with everything around us, and that affects our mood. So one of the really quick ways to snap out of this, so to speak, is to literally list everything that is good in our lives and that we feel grateful for. You know, this goes for every part of our life. So, you know, you'd be grateful for your home, the roof over your head, the food in your cupboard, your friends, your family, your inequalities, your experiences, your kids' spiritual, religious beliefs, everything. It's also really good to do about your child's behaviour. So if they're stressing you out and you find that you're negatively reacting to them and focusing on all their bad behaviour, then sitting down and actually focusing and writing down everything about them that is good actually starts to shift your perception, and you'll have a more positive outlook on them. And therefore, when you have a more positive outlook, you feel better. Combining practicing gratitude is really easy if you're doing journaling every night, and I know that if you do it, you really will see results. So that brings us to the end of this video blog, and I hope it's been really useful for you. Now remember that if you're finding that your moods are more blue or dull than being uplifted and positive, and this is a recent change for you, then there are options out there for you. Now, if you're pregnant, you've recently had a baby, you know, within that first year or anything, please pop off to your GP or your early childhood health centre to have a chat and look at what some of your options are. You know, if, however, it seems to be this chronic thing, you've been diagnosed with PND in the past, you've just never gotten over it, so to speak, then why not give motherhood coaching a go? I used coaching to recover from PND with my youngest child, who's now almost 3, and I really did a 180 in my life. You know, coaching provides you with a practical way to get your journey as a mum back on track, you know, being that type of mum that you want to be, so that you feel satisfied at the end of the day. You're that effective parent, you enjoy it again. Just get in contact with me. Send me a message on Facebook or pop over to my website. It's www.blissedoutmums.com.au, and all my contact details are there. There's also a heap of free resources and all the information on my programs that can help you. I've really enjoyed talking to you today, and I will be back in our next blog, and we'll be specifically having a chat about anxiety and worry, and I know that can be a big one for some mums. I hope wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you have a beautiful day, that you're sleeping well, looking after yourself, and I will see you all in the next video. So bye for now.